why did you sign up for the Mindful at Work Challenge?
So I signed up for a couple of different reasons. I really wanted to find another tool that I could utilize in my stress management coaching. I also teach college courses, so I wanted to find a tool I can actually use at work on the college campus and also spread that information or spread that tool to my students as well.
And Janice, what in terms of that idea of spreading it to students, how do you think it's easier for younger people to be kind of gleaning onto these ideas? Do you think if you get people young, that they're going to be less, skeptical, less cynical about being more mindful?
Yes and no, because I also think that there is something about actually having some life experience that helps you understand the need to cultivate these qualities of focus and clarity and creativity and compassion. So on the one hand, they're very open. Younger you are, the more open you are to ideas generally. But there's also a great deal of sense of I have everything I need, or there's that kind of thing. And over time, I think life experience may affect that. So yes and no. One thing I would say, Teena, thank you for your comment. What's great about mindfulness training and what's really important for people to keep in mind is it's not an outside tool. It's an innate capacity of our mind. So we know from our neuroscience that this training in mindfulness actually physiologically begins to have some effects on our mind, just like we understand that physical activity affects our body. So I think it's helpful for people to understand that this is not, you already have the capacity to be mindful. What we're talking about is cultivating it so that we can enhance our ability to do it, especially in light of all the distractibility that we have in our lives today.
And that idea that the effects that it actually does have on our minds, what sort of effects are they? How do they manifest?
So the very first thing that you begin to notice with mindfulness training is when you're not mindful. So that's the very first thing, because once you have had the taste of what is it like to be really present here, one of the things you notice when you're present with someone is you feel the connection with them. And so in communications, it's another place that it manifests very quickly, is when you bring your attention back and you are here fully for a conversation with someone, and you're not multitasking, you're not texting under the desk, or you're not doing all these other things. It's a felt connection. And the opposite is true. So we've all had those experiences where you go to speak with someone and you walk out of the room, you've said your piece, and you walk out of the room and say, they didn't hear a word I said. Even if they were looking right at me, they didn't hear a word. So the opposite is true. Yeah, so you start to notice those.
I think that's definitely true. And the worst thing is at HuffPost Live, obviously, we're always multitasking, which we spoke about before in the green room. But it does help sometimes to multitask. I've got some great comments here. This is from Darnell E, who says mindful leadership coaching is necessary. Employers have to be willing to make the investment in their people. And I think that's what you were saying, sort of, that if employers can kind of get on with this and then make it something that is amenable for people, not sort of a scary thing for employees to then want to do as well, then that's just going to, sort of help everybody get on board on the same page.
That's true. And it is helpful to bring it in not as a stress reduction health thing, but as a way to be more productive, to have greater mental resiliencies, to have better employee engagement. And that's why I think organizations will be in the future more and more on board with bringing mindful leadership into their organizations for those reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and BJ, I'm intrigued. So, why did you decide to sign up for the Mindful at Work Challenge?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me. I decided to sign up because up until about 2 years ago, most of my work was with professional athletes. However, with the increase of people sitting at their desks 10, 11, 12 hours a day, Fortune 500 companies invited me in to help teach them to take 1-minute breaks throughout the day to get their shoulders back, get the knots out of their necks and feet. And since I'm at the Fortune 500 companies anyway, teaching them how to relieve the cricks in their neck, I wanted to see what I could learn to help possibly give them more peace of mind, some other things to think about while they're getting rid of that, get those shoulders back so they're not hunched over their tech devices all day long. But for me to learn something that I could also pass along as I approach all these companies that I'm in anyway. I was hoping to get some more tools that I could use to help teach the people that I'm trying to help.
And I think that you're talking about the tools in the toolbox that you're going to be learning just in the Mindful at Work week challenge. But Janice, I know that there is going to be there's going to be something after this. It doesn't just stop at the end of the week. So tell us about the online course that you're going to be offering in the coming weeks.
Great, sure. So what we're hoping in this Mindful at Work challenge is people will begin to taste it and will begin to try it and get some very practical ways. And because we're always looking for ways to offer up different approaches so everyone can find a way to learn more about this that fits their lives, we're excited at the Institute to be introducing our first live online workshop based on the book, Finding the Space to Lead. And so at the end of the Mindful at Work challenge, people want to learn more. They're going to have an opportunity to take this 4-week, 90 minutes class once a week, starting on February 12th, and the first people to sign up will get a very deep discount in the price as an additional incentive and in celebration of the book's release. So we're excited about that because that will then give it's limited spaces, so that will give that community of people a chance to go more deeply into mindful leadership and have a chance for us to engage in dialogue and go back and forth during the class time.
And just sort of very quickly before we have to leave it there, but the idea of what they'll be learning, you mentioned the sort of mindful community. Mm-hmm. What are you hoping that the people that sort of subscribe to the online courses and also the Mindful at Work challenge, what are people supposed to be sort of discussing with one another? Do you feel like it's sort of very much you learn it yourself, but as BJ was saying, spreading it to other people, being able to teach this to other people, or at least encourage other people?
Well, I think once you start to learn it for yourself, the one thing that I know is the very best leaders who take this work in almost immediately want to share what they've learned or want to make it accessible. And whether that's accessible through a book or a retreat or an online course or some other way, I think our objective is to make this so practical and so approachable that, just as BJ was talking about things you can do at your desk, much of our training is very 10-minute practices, desk chair body scans, practical applications as you're going to your meeting or making your presentation or running home because your child is sick at 3 o'clock. So we have that as a key element to us. And then to be there for the journey is the second part of the mission of the Institute. So it's about offering retreats and courses and things like that, the book, but it's also to be there for the journey. So we have a community that we are hoping spreads and continues to grow, where we can be a resource at the Institute for Mindful Leadership and people can continue to learn more. There's always more for us to learn from each other.